of this championship, starting off this racing week as well, being the first one of the four to kick off. We're doing it around Monaco today, so it's either going to be a really short one or a long one. Obviously, we do have the glitch, unfortunately, where safety cars don't seem to come out on this track, weirdly. But I think even without safety cars, there's going to be a carnage. It's going to be a bit of carnage. And I think there's going to be a bit of changing across the grid. You might have saw in the lobby if you are a driver and watching this back, or you might have heard a bit of the background noise as I started. I am with someone else today, not Bailey this time, after that chaotic race in Brazil, which Veloce I did and win in. He sent me a paragraph on Snapchat to introduce himself with, so I'm going to read it out. He said, "Can you please introduce me like this? I'm pleased to introduce my co-commentator for this evening, ... the former Tier 4 champion, current constructor champion, current commentator of the year, current animal of the year, current head admin award winner, the GOAT himself." I can't even read that out without... No, it's not Serial Freefall, it's Hedgehog 11.
Good evening. I'm back. How are you?
I'm good. Not too
I'm
bad.
asking how you are. I've been speaking to you all night, but no, thank you for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to be back. Thank you for the introduction as well. You know, I'm an icon, aren't I, in this league? Let's face it. We've already got a DNF, by the way. We're straight into the mix.
You're kidding? It might be serving a penalty.
It does look like it's in the pits by the looks of it.
Yeah, we do have a few serving grid penalties today and qualifying, so I'll have a look through that.
Yeah, I'm just on board with Harry Palmer, who was the first driver to get onto his lap. So yeah, thanks for having me back. It feels weird coming. I've not touched F1 in a long time, so it's a bit of a last minute decision to jump on comms tonight. But it's good to be back. Looking forward to it. And to be fair, like you say, when it's Monaco, it's probably the most chaotic of races to come back into. So I couldn't really say no when you asked me to join.
Yeah, it's royalty when it comes to league racing.
Just watching Harry Palmer, who nearly binned it a couple of times then, but has kept it on the track.
Yeah,
I always say, the problem with a track like Monaco is that it's probably really obvious to say it, but there's no room for error, is there? If you slip up, you're literally in a wall, whereas on other tracks you have the luxury of going off onto a gravel. In Monaco, 9 times out of 10, if you slip up, you're going to get some form of damage, and he set the first lap on the mediums of a 1:14.1, followed by Craigo, who just set the soft lap of a 1:12.5.
Yeah, much big difference in time there for a banker. I think 12.5 is actually quite a competitive time. I've been watching a driver that we're quite fond of, that guy Draper, just doing a bit of practice now as we get the stream and the lobby set up, and that seems to be where the time is going to be found, around the 12s. I think we'll probably see some people breach into the 11s, as we're already getting close to the bottom 12s now with 12.3. So yeah, I think as we go along they will start to chisel away around the corners.
I think the problem with Monaco as well is it's traffic, isn't it? Being such a short circuit, you get 10, 15 drivers on track at once, and it makes things even more difficult. You know, even at the times on this track when it's so hard to pull over as well. We have got another DF that is on track.
Yeah,
it's Fandango.
We were on board. I wasn't looking at it, but Fandango has crashed out, and he's got a few people on the lap behind him. He should be ghosted by now. But yeah, as you said with the traffic, it's good to get a banker out now while everyone's a bit spaced out and there's people that are still in the pits. Because when it comes to the last run and everyone's looking to go out as late as possible to get the best grip of the track, I don't like it, me. You'll always see it if you watch Tier 1. I'm always out a minute earlier than everyone else because I don't like to be behind people. Because you fall in your fate. You're just letting the fate rest on the people ahead of you to be quick enough to not interrupt you, and the people behind you to be patient enough for it. So it's always nice to just get a good banker in and sort yourself out.
Yeah, I think you make a good point, because I think I've not raced for a good while now, but I remember when I used to do quali laps, and even if someone was a couple of turns in front of me, it's still, you'd still see it on the map, wouldn't you? And it's in the back of your mind, isn't it? Like, even if they're nowhere near you.
It's a put-off.
I still see the map in the bottom corner. I know that they're a couple of turns away. It's still a bit of a distraction, so I agree. Every driver wants a luxury of a free track. You can see now Mazzles is nearly getting caught up in his Haas teammate there, who's just come out the pits himself, Gautier, for his outlap, and nearly an impact there between the two of them. No one's fault, it's just because obviously it's such a narrow circuit.
Yeah. When
you come out of the pit, she's literally pretty much into the action, aren't you? So, no, I agree. I think when I used to do quali laps and people would be not even that close to, like I say, but you'd see him on the map. It would be a bit of a, be in the back of your mind as a bit of a distraction.
Yeah, it's weird because I'm the complete opposite when it comes to a race. I like being behind someone when it comes to a race to have that reference and being able to follow someone. I find it to be easier to be consistent. I don't know if that's because of me not using line. We just seen Dragon there on his lap, taking a big chunk of the Tier 1 apex, and he hasn't invalidated, so it was actually a pretty nice apex. Thought it might have been just past what he'd be allowed to do, but it seems to be going quite well. Bit of traffic, but yeah, I think it's always good to just get a lap down, no matter what circumstances is. It's always nice to just have that pressure lifted of not having to do a final run to be the end all.
100%. I think on a track like Monaco as well, I know we keep going back to the circuit, but it's so important because of the way it's laid out. I think, obviously, in any qualifying session, you don't want to be starting towards the back, but especially on a track like this, because overtakes, as we know, are so hard to do on a circuit like this. So qualifying's even more important on this circuit. As Dragon has a little bit of a wobble there, doesn't hit the wall, but again, will have lost a little bit of time. But yeah, I think qualifying on a track like this is even more important because overtakes are near impossible, aren't they, at times on a circuit like this?
Yeah, a lot of the overtaking is going to be done by strategy today. And I think another good chunk of the overtaking is going to be from driver error, especially coming out of turn 1. It's really the main way to go. You can do it going into turn 1, but the apex does narrow it down and makes it a bit hard for two cars to squabble full position, especially with the wall so close, like you said. But yeah, just give me 2 seconds. I'm just going to check everything sounds all good on the stream. And,
yeah, not a problem.
I think I'll leave you on with Gautier, who's about to set a lap in a minute.
Perfect, so I'll get on board then with Gautier. I used to race with Gautier, bit of a throwback. Used to race in Tier 4 with him, so it's nice to see him in Tier 3. A lot of familiar faces, to be fair. I recognise pretty much everyone. And already I can see what a close tier it's going to be because there's a lot of experienced drivers here. Obviously, we've already mentioned Dragon. Little one who's just left, we'll try and invite him back in a moment. Hopefully, you can get him back in. Christoph as well. A lot of big names, and of course, Draper, our good friend, is racing tonight as well. But I will stay on board with Gautier, and he's already invalidated his lap, so it's a pretty tragic effort at a lap for Gautier, the full-on. Need your help here, because how would you pronounce the race win? I know he's not here tonight.
Veloce Ayub, I think is how I pronounce it.
And is he a full-time driver, is he?
I believe so, yeah.
It looks like he's only one Ferrari here tonight. So I think the last week's race winner is the only driver that's not here tonight, by the looks of it, in terms of Ferrari at least, because I know that Mighty Baguette's here, but he looks to be the only Ferrari on track, so unless he's joining late or...
I don't think so. I think he's in absence today. But last week it was a very good drive. Oh, we've a bit of a contact there with Gautier and the wall. Nothing too drastic, but yeah, Veloce Ayub had a wicked race. It was an awkward one because it was rain last week. If you guys don't remember, it was very late on, and it caused a massive steer up in the grid. But Veloce Ayub was the only one who took the risk to go on the wet when it hadn't even started raining yet, and it ended up paying off, and he ended up winning the race on the older tyres. We've got another off for an Alpine, I believe, coming out of the Novell chicane. I think that might be Ross. I think it's Leon. Seems to be okay. Not got any damage and carry on into the pits. But yeah, I think we're in that bit of a gap now where some people are on laps and then a lot of people are prepping to go out for another. So we might end up seeing some traffic. Yeah, seeing some traffic soon. But let's get on the
looking at the qualifying so far, Liam's the only one in the 111, isn't he? I know there's still 8.5 minutes to go.
Yeah.
But he set a nice little time to beat there. Leon being the only driver comfortably really in the 111s. I know that having Nacho is and the KXI towards the bottom end of the 112s, but Leon at the moment 4 tenths give or take comfortable with the car behind him. So it's certainly a good time to beat from Leon. Other than that, if you look at how many 112.5s or his 112.6s, it's very close.
I think Baguette's going to be putting down a competitive time right now, and he has a 112 flat. Very good second sector. Purple seemed quite smooth being on board with him, and it's paid off. He's gone up to P3, initially P2, but they've all been jumped by IRT Connects, who set a 111.6, setting the standard for the rest of the drivers at the moment.
Well, I was looking at our IRT Connects, and he is not yet to score a point this season in the opening 2 races. So this could be his night to sort of kick on, get on the board, and possibly put a challenge down. But if you can win a race like Monaco, I think you deserve it. It's such a technically difficult circuit. I've got a yellow flag. I think it's involving a Mercedes a little bit up the road from Connects. Looks to have been cleared now. But yeah, I think if you can win any race, of course, you deserve gratitude. But I think a race like Monaco, if you can win a race like Monaco, where you need to be on it, for pretty much every single corner, one little slip in Monaco and you could be out the race. It's such a physically demanding and difficult circuit. I mean, I used to hate racing around it. I think you've got opportunities racing around it because, of course, there's that many mistakes and you can capitalise on them. But if you make an error around here, you're in big trouble.
It's one of those tracks where my mate Bailey had the mentality in his tier. He had the mentality of, if you're doing a crap track that no one likes, if you can master that track and be the best at it, when everyone else is so demotivated to do it, you can really pull it out the bag and make some points. I think he did the similar last season in Australia, where he had a decent race, because he knew a lot of the drivers weren't fond of it. I was quite surprised with, because Australia is quite a fun track for me, but a lot of these drivers will be on pad, and for some people on pad, this track is hell. There's no stopping. It's constant corners, and it does suit the wheel drivers a bit more, which IRTI Connects, I believe, is. So it doesn't surprise me that he's pulling it out of the bag at the moment. But yeah, I think we'll see a bit of a mix-up today. I doubt we'll see the traditional point scorers that we usually see in Tier 3. I think it will give an opportunity for some of the drivers that don't usually get up the rankings too much, because of how difficult it is, and it's just a level playing field, because I don't think anyone really is going to be practicing. If we had,
looks like Christoph is out of the session. He has binned it in the Mercedes, and that is his qualifying done. Just a quick update on Dragon. He's just put himself in third with bang on a 1:11.8, and it's quite weird actually that Dragon's in third, because I had a look earlier, and last time racing in Monaco was all the way back in season 4, and in tier 3 should I say, Dragon on speed did get a podium. So,
Draper's retired.
Bit of an omen, and he has.
Draper's retired on track, coming out of the first sector, just about to reach into the second, but he's lost it on the right-hander, and looks like he's taken a wheel off to be stopped where Nico Rosberg was once had.
Yeah, he's done with 1:12.5 for Draper, so a P11 at best. But you'd imagine a couple of lads behind him will get a better time than that, and we'll jump ahead of Draper and could push him with Christoph towards the bottom of the field. That's 4 drivers now, albeit I'm assuming that Jay Hartnell did have some form of qualifying, because he seemed to retire in the pits pretty much at the start of the session. But the other 3 have all retired on track, and that's just in quality. So you can imagine how this race is going to pan out if people are retired on quality, never mind in the race when they're all racing it around together.
Both of us were not on board with Draper, but one little advantage we do have in this box is that we can unmute him and ask him what happened himself. So,
Draper can.
Yeah, Draper, hello?
Hello, good evening everybody.
What happened there? Because no one was on board.
Just a little bit throttle happy coming out of casino.
Did you? Why, you swung it into the inside wall?
No, lit the rears, turning through the right-hander. As where Baguette's just about to come through now in the Ferrari. A little bit too throttle heavy on the exit. Spun it as I was turning for the bump. There's my wheel actually. Oh, hello. Yeah, so just a little bit loose.
Right, okay. Unfortunately for you, it's not a bad time to set. You bang in the middle, but it is going to be tricky to get past all them front lot. Hopefully you have a clean start, and we'll see you for the race. Thank you.
And that is Draper Cam.
That was Draper Cam. Well,
love it.
Draper dictaphone, Draper mic.
He's currently receiving some first aid at minute after putting it at 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, I think he was a bit slurry with his words, because I think he might have got a concussion.
He was, yeah. I hope he's not been drinking.
No, I know.
It's nice to hear from Draper. Like you say, P11 at very best. Little one at the moment is currently the championship leader. I know he had a few issues in qualifying in terms of his connection. I've tried inviting him back. I'm not too familiar whether he's managed to get back in or not. I've not had anything popping up to suggest that he's in the session, but hopefully he can get back in. Of course, we've only done 2 rounds, haven't we? But he's top on 48.6 clear of Craigo, and he's currently down in 12th in quali. And of course, if he's not in the session, it's going to be P12 at best. So it's going to be a difficult qualifying for Little One, whereas Craigo currently in that top 5. So advantage Craigo. I always say, and I know that we're always really early into the season, but every point matters, doesn't it, in terms of the championship? Even so early in the season,
it does, yeah.
Could push from the end, and I'm sure Craigo at the moment will be happy to see Little One further down the pecking order and him possibly pushing towards pole, him and Dragon, as the Aston Martin team looking very strong in quali so far, both in the top 5. And actually, Craig's got the exact same time as Baguette.
Yeah, literally to the point with the decimals, with the free decimal point. But in the past 2 races, it's been one of the focal points. The Aston Martins have been so hard to drag away from each other. They've been stuck together like glue for the past 2 races. So it wouldn't surprise me to see them working together today. Leon's retired on track as well, coming out of turn 1, and that will be his best time with 11.5, and it's a brilliant time. But he's not going to have a chance to do a final third run. Very
That's
good.
interesting because he's just done it. He's just set out lap as well. Literally just set the 11.5 now, and then put it in a wall at turn 1. So I'm not too sure what's happened there. Like you say, he has set what will be a difficult lap to beat. As KXI, I think he's just he has his lap's over. He's screwed it up. He will have time to go around and go again potentially, as long as he's avoided damage. But he did tap the corner there. His car does look okay. So KXI, if he's quick and has enough fuel, will be able to go again. But that first attempt at an improvement from KXI, he's currently sat 7th, hasn't gone to plan.
No, it hasn't. I've been on board with AMS Core. Is AMS is that an abbreviation for a ship name, like the AMS, or is it the HMS?
That's HMS, isn't it?
HMS. Well,
might be. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, hopefully he's
Who
not
knows?
wearing like a boat today for the AMS Core, but I think it is a debut for today. I think it's his first racing cone. I don't remember seeing his name in the past 2 weeks, so we'll see how he goes as he comes in the pits. He's just set a 1:12.999 for his best, so he's looking to do a bit better than that. My first ever league race actually was on Monaco, and it was quite a manic one. Yeah, a league that has been affiliated with CRL for a bit, Euro. I was dragged into league racing from there, and chucked in the deep end really, jumping on for Monaco.
Yeah. Oh, Connect has jumped for pole, Josh, or potential pole, the 111.3. I'm just on board with MKP, who is currently the last driver on the grid, bar the 2 that are DNF'd. He has just jumped ahead of Gautier into 15th. But yeah, Connect has taken provisional pole, and now he's pretty much end the quality. So all the lads on the laps now will have one last opportunity. Baguette's not improving. Craigo, I don't think he's improving either. No, he's not.
Nacho's on that edge. KXI, we'll see now his sector split. Oh, it's a great cut. Bit of a wobble though. Doesn't take an invalidation.
I don't think. No, he's not improving.
Ferguson coming across the line.
There we go. I did say if he's been in the session or not, and there you go. 11-1
He's definitely in now because that's not the
that's not the high time, is it?
1:11.1.
Wow.
Very good time. RT Connect. What on earth? I thought there's a car going backwards there. There's an Alpha Tauri going backwards in the final corner there. That was a bit weird. I think he was going backwards unless I was seeing it wrong, but I think it was KXI trying to come back into the pits. I don't know if that was correct or not, but
MKP is the last driver that's going to try and improve his time. I don't think he is. No, he's not going to improve. So Little One, our championship leader, has taken pole. Now, he's living in Manchester at the moment, so, he's near me.
Congratulate him in-house.
Yeah, I can do at the Etihad today for his uni project, he was telling me. So it must be a city thing, mustn't it? There you go, Little One takes pole. And we were saying the battle with Craigo that Craigo's got the advantage. Well, not anymore. Little One's only a second quicker than him.
Probably some of the better news to come out of Manchester, depending on what side of the city you're on. But
you're not wrong.
Yeah, I'm sure all of you will be clued up on that with the blue side of the city, but we'll see what happens with that as well. But for now, sticking to the F1, Little Juan does take pole quite convincingly. Usually 2/10 you wouldn't say is quite convincing, but over a short track like Monaco, 2/10 is quite the gap. IRT Connect's also showing very good promise here, not scoring a point as Hedge had said with a 1:11.3 for P2. Leon P3, Dragon taking P4, Mazel's taking P5, just about within a second, with Mighty Baguette taking in P6. Also Craigo just within a second of the leader for now. Nacho P8 just breaching out of that DRS split. KXI for P9, followed by Harry Palmer for the top 10. Ferguson and Ross taking the last points positions prematurely as we start the race going into it. But I think that will definitely be switched up a bit when it comes to the 30 odd. I think it's 40 actually laps of Monaco. We'll have to see.
Yeah, it's all to play for. And like you said, on a track like this, there's literally no room for error at all. Of course, you don't wish DNFs on anybody, but you can only imagine that there'll be a fair few in this race.
Yeah.
Just like the track's laid out, and the fact that there's 19 of them sharing the track, and what is obviously the shortest track, or one of the shortest tracks at least in F1. I think it's second shortest behind Austria, or is Austria a little bit? I know they're very close together, aren't they, Austria and Monaco?
No, I think Austria is shorter. It's a 104 lap time.
Yeah, so Monaco I think comes in at second shortest behind Austria. But even Austria, although it's shorter, there's room for error, isn't there, on a track like Austria? There's places to go if you're in a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
Whereas Monaco, you're literally in a wall. So
yeah,
it'll be a very interesting race.
There's not many runoffs from Monaco, but when there is, they're quite far down the track, so it leaves you a lot of time to try and get back on the track. It can be quite dangerous to do so at the same time. So there's always margin for error everywhere, but somewhere like Monaco, it is a lot more limited on the space you have to do so. Yeah, everyone just choosing strategy now. Let's go on Race Direct to see if we can get a sneak peek of what people have decided to do, and we face a glitch where we can't get on. But yeah, here we go. So it looks like Little Juan will be starting on hards. IRT Connects and Leon going for the aggressive strategy on mediums, we think. Dragon and Mazel's taking hards, followed by 4 sets of medium runners, then to Harry Palmer on the hards, split up by Ferguson on the mediums with the other hard runner Ross, and then mediums all the way down, apart from Fandango and Gautier fell on. Fandango at the bottom there, not something we usually see. He's usually quite good in qualifying, then gets unlucky in the race. I think I've said that plenty of times throughout the season now. It's so
that's weird you say that. That's weird you say that, because I commented on Fandango in previous seasons as well, whether it be tier 2 or tier 3, and I said the exact same thing when I commentated over him.
He's always good in quali, but he just it's either an individual mistake in the race or it's just luck.
That as well.
Yeah.
No, it's strange. Yeah, it's really weird, because I say the exact same thing as you. That his quali pace was 9 times out of 10 he'd be up there for pole, but in the race he just never seemed to put it together. Whereas I was the opposite when I raced. I was awful at quali. He seemed to do
it's the same
in the races. Just a quick mention on the Constructors' Championship, because I know Alpine are leading Aston Martin by 3 points, but I'm looking at Williams in third, and the interesting thing with Williams is they sat third in the Constructors' Championship with 74 points, but no points have been scored by the Tier 3 drivers, so
really?
A little bit of pressure on RIT Connector. Like, as I mentioned before, he's not scored a point this season yet, but he's currently sat in P2, and his teammate, not Jay Arnold, who's his teammate in the Williams?
It'll be Nacho.
Nacho, so yeah, good quality for Williams. Both in the top 8, so it'll be interesting to see whether they can get a result on the board tonight. In terms of tyres, who would you favour here? Would you sooner be Little One on the hards, or would you sooner be Connects on the mediums at the start?
It all depends on the launch, because there's not much of a run up to turn 1 for the drivers. So as long as Little Juan can make a competitive start to IRT Connects, he can definitely stay ahead. I think Little Juan starts on the outside in P1. Which isn't ideally, but you'll want to cut off the front as quick as you can to stay ahead and not get dived up the inside. Because if you get dived up on the inside of Monaco, and your life's in the hands of the second driver there, so you want to get rid of that bit of luck and chance and just put it all down to you and get on the inside and cover it off. Make it your choice then. But IRT Connects is going to have a much better job of getting the tyres warmed up with how short and narrow the track is. You can see how Little Juan's just being a little bit soft with it, not really putting in an aggressive tyre warming, which might work out as it'll help the longevity of the tyres. But you can see Connects really revving out the rears, doing his best to try and just smash him into the track and get the temperatures up, which I think will benefit him on the run to turn 1. We'll have to see. It'll be interesting. I think I'm going to be on board with him as we start, and then we'll get on to the rest of the grid. Inside, actually, for Little Juan. So, better place for him to be, and it will be a lot harder for IRT Connects to make that move into turn 1, being on the outside with the longer and curve into the right track. But we'll see what happens as the lights start to go out. I'll let you take that.
Oh, really? Wow. Wow, it's no pressure, isn't it? A pleasure. A pleasure. 39 laps ahead of us, as we've already touched on before. 19 drivers on track. Little One is the championship leader, and he starts on pole in what is a very short run down to turn 1, 5 red lights ahead of the drivers, and we are underway for round 3 of Tier 3 here in Monaco, and Little One gets a good launch, but there's pressure already on Leon with Dragon on speed. Having a look behind him, as is Mazel, but the top 5 seems to have got away very, very well, Josh. What's happening towards the back?
I'm looking at KXI and Craigo getting side by side, making a bit of contact. They might already be damaged for the two of them, but they haven't gone off and took a spin yet. But everyone else seeming to be pretty close. We've got Christopher looking at the inside there of the Williams. We got a dive on the inside from the Alpha Tauri, and it's Draper. And I nearly swore there. That was a cracking move down the inside. He somehow managed to slow down the car, and genuinely that was a very lovely move. We've got yellows going on behind as everyone starts to come around Mirabeau. I think it's called Mirabeau. And that is it. Everyone got away pretty cleanly. Not too bad. Little Juan and IRT Connects making the jump on the rest of them so far. Leon taking a bit too much curve there. I think that might have warranted a warning from the FIA. But apart from that, pretty clean, I have to be honest. Not too bad at all.
And we said, didn't we, how difficult it is as Gautier gets a penalty on that. Oh no, it's the faster a corner cutting penalty as well. It's a 5-second penalty that. But we said, didn't we, earlier on, how always takes us so hard on this circuit, and there's the proof. Look at the changes. I mean, might even he's going to try and make a move on Harry Palmer. He's down 5. It's been an awful start for the Ferrari drive, but there's not been many changes at all. In fact, the top 5, Little One Connect, Leon, Dragon and Mazzles, as we enter lap 2, are as you were. Well, I say that, and there's a change. As Dragon on speed gets the jump on Leon and puts the Aston Martin car into the top 3. It's a really nice battle here, Josh, for that P3 spot already, though, as the top 2 are pulling away. So Dragon, Leon and Mazzles having a really nice battle here for that final podium position.
Yeah, we're not used to seeing an Alpine being quicker on Monaco, as we did see Fernando Alonso creating quite the train in real life. But for RGP, the Alpines seem to be holding pretty good pace at the moment. IT Connects and Little Juan, though, completely their own at the moment on pace. And what I have to say, Little Juan on the hards, holding it perfectly at the moment. If he can stay anywhere near the medium runner and keep him behind, he's going to limit the advantage he has on going on the mediums early and really take it to him when he gets the chance to go on mediums himself. But the only thing Little Juan doesn't have the advantage of at the moment is IRT Connects is going to be pitting earlier. Bit of an error from him. He is going to be pitting earlier, and he might get an undercut if he can somehow get into free track, which I'm not sure if he will. Leon taking a spin or a contact, and he's down to P12. He's coming to the pits as well, so it looks like damage, or he's just taking a chance, as he is right there anyway. Or he lost the time.
Quick update towards the back. Jay Hartnell, we mentioned it, with the had a bit of an incident on that one. He is pitted towards the back, and Little One's out the race.
No.
The driver's leader and the man on pole has put it in a wall, and he's out of the Grand Prix. That now we said the be DNFs. I did not expect Little One to be the first DNF.
What?
The drivers will have to be careful as they come around the corner because he's still on track there on the left hand side, and a couple of them nearly made contact, Josh. But we need to be DNFs, but that is a massive DNF for championship leader and the man who started on pole.
Well, IRT Connects is absolutely free with the win now at the moment. The only thing that's going to stop in his way is if he falls into traffic when he does pit. As long as he can stay out of error, though, he's looking good. Everyone else has jumped a spot because of it, but that is a massive crash so early on in the race. And like we said, there is a glitch where the safety car doesn't really come out unless it is a completely drastic pile-up. So we're not going to see a safety car for it, and everyone's going to carry on as if nothing happened. But Little Juan won't be thinking that at all. He'll definitely be pondering on his errors there, because I don't think IRT Connects was close enough for contact, so
no,
it was definitely a driver error.
100%. I was looking at Little One, back-to-back P2s so far this season in Brazil and in China, which has resulted in him sitting top of the championship. Another yellow flag there, another DNF. No, it's not Draper in a wall, and he looks to have avoided any sort of damage, visible damage anyway, but he's dropped all the way back down to P15. But yeah, Little One will be really disappointed with that. Such a good qualifying. He was the main man in qualifying, of course, started on pole. And as you mentioned, Josh, him and Connects were literally a league of their own. They were pulling away from the rest of the pack, and that will stoop Connects down to the ground now. He's got nearly a 5-second gap on the Aston Martin of Dragon. Dragon's not in clear air himself. He's got the Haas of Mazzles only a few tenths behind him. So although Dragon will want to pull away here and try and hunt down Connects, the problem Dragon's got is that he's got Mazzles on his tail, and Craigo, his teammates, not a million miles behind either, so Dragon's under a little bit of pressure here.
Tell you what did I say? These two have been glued together, the Aston Martins. They're the perfect. Well, I say perfect teammates, but sometimes you don't want teammates to be the exact same pace because it can cause some issues further down the line when it comes to championship position. But for the past 3 races, you just can't get rid of them from being together. But yeah, starting to level out now.
On track, and I think it's Christoph. Yeah, he
Not
seems to have
a
lost the
drastic
place.
one.
No, he seems to be okay. No damage, but he's got himself left himself under pressure now. Gautier and AMS core as well. As Gautier has himself in a Mercedes sandwich now. He's right behind Christoph.
Bit of a wobble there for the Haas.
AMS core behind him is Ross, by the way. A couple of laps ago, I think it was lap 3, had a bit of a spin of his own. He lost a couple of places as he looks to try
and there's a spin.
Rekindle, and there's a spin and contact as well. Was he contacted? A lot. There was contact.
I think there might have been. AMS core might be dealing with some damage. Doesn't look like it visually, from our point of view, but definitely having to be careful with the throttle there as he saw Gautier Lafillon losing it a few times. No damage though, that looks like. Although we say no damage, we did expect Draper come out of it with no damage, but the only worry I have for him is the way he'd come out of the corner and spun, looked like his rear wing was up against the barriers, and I think there could be a chance he's running with some rear wing damage. So if his pace is off, we think we know why, because he's been holding it okay up until then. Nacho getting moved on by Mighty Baguette. Mighty Baguette sending up the inside in the final corner, and he loses position for it. Number 65.
The Baguette beat the Nacho. The biggest winner so far on track, or these 2 biggest winners, but the one towards the front is the man from Northern Ireland, Ferguson, who's up 5 places in the Red Bull. And a very good start as Nacho and Baguette are going at it again, and Nacho just flew past Baguette. Williams v Ferrari in that battle for P8, and Nacho for now is the only driver on track, Josh, that started in his position, and he's still in that same position now. He started P8 and he's still P8. The other drivers have either gained or lost positions, so Nacho is the only driver on track at the moment that's not in that situation. But Connect seems to be pulling further and further away. The gap is now over 5 seconds to Dragon, and Dragon's still not shook off Mazzles, albeit the gap is still around about 5 tenths. And as I mentioned earlier on, the overtakes in this track are a nightmare. But Mazzles doing the right thing really, and just sticking to the back of him, knowing that Craigo is also in that mix. So it's
not just Craigo, look at the queue.
KXI's there as well, and so is Ferguson. So
yellows.
On track.
Harry Palmer.
Yeah.
Taking a clip with the wall coming out of the Noval chicane.
I tell you what, though, I've commentated a lot of races around Monaco. Has that Connect's had a bit of an incident there? I think he has like an incident.
It is, yeah.
Because there's a DNF as well. AMS core on track as DNF'd.
No damage for Connect.
Draper. Oh, Draper! I thought he'd hit him. He went right through him. I thought Draper had hit him. Panicked. I was going to say before that bit of an incident that this is one of the cleanest Monaco starts, albeit the little one incident that I've seen. There's only a lot more chaos in this, but as I say, that AMS core retires, and there was a spin for our race leader Connect, and all of a sudden, Josh, Connect has put himself as Dragon gets a penalty.
Oh, I was just about to talk about Dragon and say how he's actually in a good position to go ahead and win this race now. But he's already got a penalty, which is very early on, 7 out of the 39. It's not a bad thing because we've still got plenty of time for others to get it, but the advantage of being able to chase someone who has a penalty has now gone for Dragon as he picks one up himself. IT Connects is now dropped into the DRS range with Dragon.
Dragon as well, Josh, sorry to interrupt you. The man who was 4th, or 5th, sorry, has just spun. And all of a sudden got damage, and he's dropping a hell of a lot of places. No left end plate on that Alpha Tauri, and might even get this penalty as well. So all of a sudden, little things are coming into play that are affecting this race. It's funny because me and you said in quality, didn't we, how this track is brutal, and you can see that 2 laps ago we were sat here saying how quick Connects, and no, Connects has got no wing. He's just lost his wing completely. Connects has just lost his front wing completely at turn 1.
Oh, I thought I shouted Mazzles there, thinking that it was his wing as he was on board with him. And Connects is absolutely easy. He's lost any chance of winning the race at the moment.
And we were saying, weren't we, 2 laps ago, Little One and Connects were flying. One of them's out the race, and the other one's got no wing. So how quickly things can change.
It's a saving grace for Dragon after picking up that penalty, but it's the mediums. I don't think he's been able to keep him down in temperature and keep a stable car with him for the rest of the race.
He's lucky about it. He's not retired there completely. To lose his full wing,
he's going to come out.
The problem he's got is I'm going to say the problem he's got to get to the pitch yet and lose a fair amount of time in doing so. So he's going to come out, I'd probably say, certainly behind Christoph. He's just got a penalty as well.
can't. He'd probably
So
get that removed, maybe.
a really difficult lap for Connect. I mean, we're talking literally a lap ago. He was 5 seconds clear of any competition behind him, and now he looks like somebody who's not even in contention to get a podium. That's how quick things can change. He's got to be careful braking there because might even get nearly went right into the back of him as well. But Connect will have to pit. He's always caused problems there, though. He's always going into the wall as well. There's the
Oh wow, he's not even in the
well.
pitch yet.
Is that Christoph as well who's gone off? It is Christoph just behind him as Connect is retired in the pits. So there you go.
It would be hard to come back from that.
When a matter of 2 laps, the 2 lads that were running away with this race are now both out of the race. That's how quick things can change, and Connect becomes our 3rd retiree of the evening. And the disappointment for Connect is such a good qualifying, but that's now 3 races in a row this season where he's yet to score a point. So frustration for him, and 1 lap really that's cost him there.
Yeah, we got Harry Palmer on the teammate of IT Connects, getting pressured also as his teammate was trying to look for a move, but like we said, the track is too narrow and just too drastic to get a move on quick enough. But at the moment, Dragon is leading now, with Mazel just behind, who will potentially be leading if he can keep penalty free. But these two on hards now. The medium runner at Craigo starting to fall behind with his tyres starting to die, which doesn't surprise me, and Ferguson doing the same. Might even get on the mediums as well. So now it's just Dragon and Mazel's duty to pull away from the rest and try and make a gap worth having with the better tyres while they last until they can get onto the mediums. But yeah, Mazel's got no pressure to make a move now with the penalty range he's got on Dragon. He's keeping right on his tail. And he can probably, if he's keeping right on his tail like this, it probably means that he's got a bit more pace in the box than Dragon, and he can just stick with him and not have to worry about getting warnings and just keep a nice steady pace as it goes along until the pit range. Obviously, the pit range will matter because they'll want to probably go a bit later than usual so they don't come out in traffic. They want everyone on the mediums to pit before them so they get that gap and they don't have to worry about any other values getting involved with their battle apart from the 2 of them. Craig will want to pit soon and get onto the hards and make an undercut to try and get back into the mix. But again, like he has at the end of this stint, he will lose performance when it comes to the end of the race, which will probably put him a bit further back than these 2 again. But if he can get ahead on an undercut, it will be quite nice for him. Apart from that, everyone's starting to level out gaps. We've got Harry Palmer close to Nacho still, 3.5 tenths. He looks like he could make a move on the straight here, as the Williams actually has a bit of a contact with the wall. Nothing major, just a bang of the wheel sides. But I wonder if Harry Palmer can try and make a move here. I don't think he's got the exit to do so. He hasn't. Medium still for Nacho, so it's not too bad. MKP getting a bit of a wobble there as he was ghosted. But yeah, apart from that, level playing field. Just Draper on the back of the Haas and everyone else just staying pretty close. Ferguson also very close to Craigo. Craigo durating and Leon is out. Leon has crashed coming out into the tunnel, which is a bit of a weird place to do it. He's quite far away from the exit, so a bit of a weird one that. We'll see in the stewards room what happened.
There's no one near Leon, so definitely didn't involve anybody else. Dragon is coming towards him now. He's right in the middle of the track here. He doesn't look like he's going to either, so have to be careful, the drivers there. Hopefully he does go, but you never know on this game. What I was going to say about Dragon is then, and Mazel's, as KXI gets a penalty himself, is that Dragon had a bit of a couple of little wobbles on this lap. And Mazel's doing a very good job, as Mazel's done pretty much the 11 laps so far, and just hanging on to the back of him. Now, Mazel's another driver that's yet to score a point this season. He didn't race in the opening night in China and DNF'd in Brazil last week. Very experienced driver, Mazel's, that I know from racing against him and commentating over him in various tiers and situations that he's got a lot of pace and a lot about him. He's a race winner. I remember him winning a race in Tier 4 when he was racing with me. We're talking probably 4 seasons ago now. It was his first ever race win back in Singapore, and since then really he kind of kicked on and developed from an average Tier 4 driver, I'm sure you won't mind me saying, to a driver now that can compete in Tier 2 and Tier 3 comfortably. And at the moment, Josh, he's probably the favourite for the race, although there's a hell of a long way to go. You look at the gap down to Craigo behind, and he's right on the back of Dragon, and Dragon can't shake him off, and of course with that penalty as well, it does favour Mazel's at the moment.
Yeah, it does look like it. Mazel's, yeah, I can agree with that. I didn't really see him much in the earlier seasons, but he has come to be a race winner in this tier.
Got a lot about him for sure, and I think the hard runners here of Dragon and Mazel's are probably coming into their own now, and as we've already mentioned, the medium runners probably starting to struggle now, and them tyres will start to deteriorate a little more. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on in that situation. Now, you did mention before, Josh, and I'm not too familiar with it, but is there an issue with a safety car on this track? Because there's been a fair few incidents now where a safety car should have come out, especially with the little one DNF, that's for sure, but no safety car just yet, despite there being 4 DNFs and numerous yellow flags.
Right, just gotta get seated again. Yeah, still looking all pretty much the same at the moment. Derating there for Craig.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know you'd gone that far.
Sorry, I just saw my little brother out. He's just run upstairs.
Just looking at Ferguson on the back of Craig. I was just going to ask you then. When KXI's retired, I was going to ask you then. As we wait for, is there an issue with safety cars? Did you mention?
Yeah, so for some reason on Monaco it doesn't pull out a safety car, because if it did,
at all.
Yeah, so unless it's like a massive pileup that consists of like multiple drivers, like 3 or 4, it never pulls it out because of how close the walls are. It's stupid, I know.
I'm quite surprised. I don't want to sound controversial, but I'm quite surprised this race is on the calendar. Then if there's no safety cars, maybe I'm missing something. Quite possibly.
Ferguson almost went for a send there as you were talking.
Mazzles is leading now, by the way. He has jumped Dragon and now leads by 7 tenths. But no, I'm quite surprised this race has been included then, Josh. If there's no possibility of safety cars, because it just seems a little bit unfair. Is that fair to say, or I don't know? I just feel like if you're gonna have an early incident on this track and know there's no chance of you getting back into the race because of there being no safety cars, it makes things very difficult.
The admins had an option to set it to an increased safety car setting, which usually fixes the problem, from what I've been told. So I'm surprised they didn't go with that, but they decided just to go with the rule set that they've gone with all the way. Dragon getting a bit wobbly there as we're talking about this, but yeah, he's losing a bit of time now to Mazzles. But yeah, I'm surprised also. I thought if we're doing Monaco,
I mean, I'm missing something. I've not commentated our race for a long time, so I'm not up to date with the ins and outs of the game and what's going on. So it'd be unfair on me to kind of comment, but I would just think personally, if this issue is known by people, which it sounds like it is, why we race here if it's impossible, like you say, or near impossible to get a safety car. However, the battle for P3 is heating up massively here between Craig and Ferguson.
There,
I thought Ferguson was just going to make a move on him then. Ferguson does look the quicker driver, as it sounds, and has definitely caught my eye in the early stages of this race. He gained a lot of positions at the start of the race. He gained 5 in the opening few laps, and since then has kind of kicked on and giving Craig a hell of a battle here. And Baguette as well, who had a difficult start to the race, is also in this mix for that final podium place. But you mentioned, didn't you, that the two Aston Martin seem to be very consistent, and that's looking like the case again tonight, as they're both well in the top 3 as it stands.
Yeah, they did have a chance at a double podium, I believe, in Brazil or China. It was one of the two. It hasn't quite happened yet, I don't think.
Ferguson making contact with Craig, albeit very light contact at turn 1. There shouldn't be any damage for either of them there, but it was a little bit of a bump from Craig going to the back. From Ferguson into the back of the Aston Martin. But yeah, I mean, again, it's a similar situation to Mazzles and Dragon early on. Ferguson will have to follow Craig and hope for a little bit of a wobble in order to make an overtake. But then noticing that behind him, he's got a Ferrari that's not slow either. So it's a similar situation to what Mazzles was in early on behind Dragon. I'm sure Ferguson will try and pick his fights wisely here and wait for an opportunity to try and jump Craig when that becomes available. But again, it's such a circuit of fine margins, this track, and one little error, one little misjudgment could be the difference.
Yeah, definitely. I think with Ferguson, he's going to eat. There's 2 ways it can go now. It'll either go with impatience or with strategy, and I think he might try and get in the pits a bit earlier to clear him with an undercut. Oh no!
Oh, contact! He's hit him. Yeah, he did hit him then. Again, I don't want to make comment on whether that was penalty worthy or not. I'm not knowledgeable enough to make that decision, but there was definitely contact between Ferguson and Craig. I think Craig, in fairness, there has braked as he's going into the pits. He was anticipated going into the pits, so whether that'll be racing, I'm not too sure.
He had wing damage.
Oh really? Yeah. That's why he's probably looking a little bit slower then. There's a battle for P5 here, as Harry Palmer is right on the back of the Williams of Nacho.
What an exit.
A bit of a mistake there, and Harry Palmer could capitalise on that. Mediums v hards. Harry Palmer on the inside of Nacho. Can he make the move? There's contact between the two of them, and Harry's had to go deeper
No,
And
that's clean from Harry's end.
yeah, has made the move stick. So well done,
Very
Harry
good move.
Palmer, as he puts himself into the top 5 now at the expense of Nacho. Now the mediums now, Josh, surely he's starting to crumble a little bit.
Yeah, you'll want to get onto them soon, onto the hard soon anyway, because 39 laps, we're nearly halfway through the race, and you don't want to be doing more on the mediums or the hards unless you know they can make it. So yeah, we will be seeing people pitting soon. I think Craigo, even though there was a bit of contact in the end, I don't think it mattered that much because he pit anyway. I think he was going to pit soon, so it didn't really make a difference to chance of the finishing side of the race. But yeah, I think people will start to dive in soon.
Penalty for Gautier, who's currently sat down in 10th. He's another one that started. I think Gautier pitted early, didn't he, due to damage? So he's on the hards. He's on 15 laps worth of hards, but has just picked up a penalty. The man behind him, Craigo, who he's second in the championship going into tonight's race behind Little One. Of course, Little One out of the race, so Craigo has got a chance to potentially leapfrog Little One and potentially claim top spot on the championship after 3 rounds as we head to France next week in the first sprint race of the season, I believe. That's had a sprint race so far. Josh, have we had a sprint race so far?
We haven't, so it will be the first.
No?
France is tricky track as well.
Yeah, it is. So Craig has got a chance tonight to potentially leapfrog Little One and take top spot in the Tier 3 Championship. But at the moment, he's down in 11th. Of course, he has recently just pitted for a set of hards and did make contact with Ferguson as the 2 McLarens switching places. Fandango getting past his teammate MKP. Again, similar situation to pretty much every driver so far. Either the mediums or the hards. And in this situation, one McLaren being Fandango on the mediums and the other McLaren being MKP on the hards.
Yep, we did see that as well under the tunnel. We got a few people pitting in now, Nacho and Baguette. Interested to see where Nacho comes out now after fighting with Craigo and seeing what happens when it comes out of the pits. But I'm not too sure actually if one's going to jump the other or if it's going to stay the same as it was before. It'll
be close between J. Hartnell and Baguette, but in the end, J. Hartnell does get past him pretty comfortably. Gautier won't be too far behind J. Hartnell either. Sorry, behind Baguette either here, but he had a bit of a difficult turn 1 then, Gautier, and has lost any sort of momentum that he would have had going into that corner. Yeah. He is due a pit stop, Gautier. Not yet, of course, on the medium. On the hard, as Draper, who is currently last on the softs, has just picked up a time penalty. Is that his first? It is his first. Gautier, I mentioned, has penalties. He actually has 8 seconds of penalties. He's got a lot of work to do, Gautier. He's to get some solid points on that with the fact that he's got 8 seconds of penalties to his name. And we're already approaching the halfway point of this race, Josh. And I'd say it's safe to say that Mazzles is a clear favourite, especially due to the fact that the safety car is unlikely. As Draper retires on track.
There is a crash, yeah. In the swimming pool chicane, I think everyone's getting all past okay. Similar place to where Mick Schumacher binned it in the real GP. Seems to have swung the car, I'm guessing, out of the right-hander and took a dive into the wall, trying to get into the pool, but not looking good for the rest of the race as he is out now. Ferguson coming up the pits into P6, right next to his teammate. Very Red Bull this. Look at that. He's
gone in the wall.
He's pushed too hard trying to make moves.
There's no visible damage, but I would imagine that he's possibly picked up a little bit of damage there. And what a shame, because I mentioned him already tonight. He's really impressed me tonight. The way he's raced. Really, really clean drive and some really nice moves as well in tricky areas. But yeah, I mean, there's no visible damage on the Red Bull there, but I would be shocked because he hit the wall at some force there, and we'll see at the end of this lap whether he pits or not. The problem he's got is now he's gone from being next to his teammate to now having the likes of Baguette and Gautier right on his tail. And like I say, if he's got damage, it is going to cost him. So Ferguson really impressed so far tonight, but a little bit of wobble there. It's still something you've been in college before, isn't it? You know, having someone on the track putting you off, and quite possibly there he didn't want to go away his teammate and ruin him and his teammate's race, and it cost him in the end, spinning into the wall. We'll have to see where he's got damage on that. We'll find out in a couple of turns as to whether he goes back into the pits or not.
For minor damage, he seems to be doing okay on track. Although Big Siri's trying to get involved with you there.
Trying to jump in, Ted Kravitz.
Whoa!
Yours is as well, mate. That's a bit strange, isn't it? Should we let them two take over? I mean, you want a break?
It's because I said it, wasn't it?
Yeah, there we go. But Ferguson doesn't pit. He stays out. So I'm assuming he's not got damage, and he's starting to pick up the pace again and pull away from the mighty Baguette. So
It was cold
Ferguson's
tyres,
pace-
so you have to take that into account with his pace on the last lap. But yeah,
Yeah, definitely. So
got-
hopefully
I've got
he's okay.
I've got the tyre detail up now for the viewers to see. 19 laps they're breaking onto for the hard runners up front, so I think around about now, I reckon if they're going to do 20 on the hards, they're going to want to do a few more just to make that medium set safe. So I think within the next 2, 3, 4 laps will be when we see these front 6 get in. Fandango 18 lap mediums still going.
A little bit of contact and the battle for P9 between Gautier and Craigo. I'd say it's a battle, but realistically, there's only one winner here at the moment, and it's going to be Craigo. You know, and the fact he's got no penalties compared to Gautier's 8, and the fact that Gautier's on 15 lap worst tyres. Now, Craigo's frustration here will be that he's still got a chance of getting a very good result, but the longer he gets stuck behind Gautier, there's damage from Ross behind him as well. Ross has done the same thing. He hit the wall though, Ross, and has got right end plate damage to the Alpine. But Craigo's problem here is if he doesn't pull away and get past Gautier, he feels a lot of time here, Craigo. As Ross, I would imagine, will pit due to damage. If he does pit for damage, the Alpine wins the
got a spin.
Craigo's got to try and pass Gautier.
Chris Few takes a spin, resets the track. He's going to get reported for that, and he will take a penalty. I mean, in a spot like that, it's probably the better thing to do because he's right on the exit of the corner and there's hardly any room to move. But yeah, will be a penalty, I think. It might not be as big as some of the other penalties as it is Monaco, but yeah, definitely going to be involved in his race time. Mazel's Dragon, Harry Palmer still out, so waiting a few more laps then to make sure the medium stint is nice and safe. And then apart from that,
I think Craigo's getting frustrated here because he's still stuck behind Gautier and he's losing a hell of a lot of time.
Well, Gautier has been derating. I think the Aston Martin's going to want to make a move here. I think
he needs to make a move because his race is getting compromised here. Not just based on this, of course. There's been other factors as well that has made things difficult for Craigo. But
Dragon's in the pits. First of the 3. Well, it's really going to be crucial where he comes out on track now. Because if he comes out behind this group of...
Oh, Craig! Sorry, Josh. Craigo's spanning the wall, and that frustration has got the better of him. On his own accord, spins into the wall and gets serious damage to his car, so we're off the pit. And
I'm going to call back now to Dragon, and Dragon does come out behind the 2 cars. Dragon's going to have to deal with this now, and he's going to have to hope that they can keep the pace of the leaders because he's stuck behind them, and there's no chance he's going to be able to make a move on both of them on the cold tyres. This is really going to be crucial for Mazzles, because if Mazzles can stay out a bit longer and not have to get involved in this battle, it could mean the difference between race win and race lost.
Well, Dragon's a very experienced driver, and he's got to use that here and stay sensible because the frustration will kick in like it did with Craigo, where he wants to get past them. He'll know here that these two are going to cost him time. There's no doubt about it. And old tyres are not going to be very quick, these two at all.
They're both flashing like Christmas as well.
Yeah. Dragon will know that he's going to lose time here, and there's not much he can do about it. To get a move past one is going to be difficult. To get a move past both of them, even more difficult. And he's got Ferguson, who we've seen already tonight, a very fast driver as well, on his tail. So it's going to be a frustrating few laps here for Dragon. He's got to stay out of any sort of, risk getting any damage here. We've seen Craigo a lap ago, he was in a similar situation, and it cost him. The frustration got the better of him. So Dragon's got to be very careful here. He's lucky
this is good.
Jay Hartnell has pitted. Which has made things a little bit easier for him. But Dragon's going to be careful here. He doesn't get involved in any unnecessary situations as Harry Palmer comes out behind Mighty Baguette. So Dragon's got a little bit of a gap, or fair gap to be fair, down to the Ferrari driver. But I think Dragon's got to stay out of the trouble here and just work his way past MKP. MKP will know that it's his teammate Fandango that's second, of course, due on the old mediums. But McLaren doing a decent race so far. Of course, they are both due to pit again. But they're doing the job.
I'm really worried here that Dragon might be having a bit too much overspeed, like he does there. That is exactly what I was just about to talk about. He did take off.
He's in the air. He's got wings.
He's not
a red believer, is he? So
he might have had wings for a split second, but I think he's got a damaged wing for
and he's
a longer
costing himself there because Ferguson jumped him as well.
I was literally just about to talk about how he's stuck behind MKP, 21 lap old mediums, such a slower tyre. It's so hard being behind someone when you've got fresh tyres. You're really,
of course it is.
You're eager to just push on and just break through them, but you have to limit yourself. And I think I don't know if there was contact from behind or not, but I think it was just him coming up too quick to the rear
and look at Mazzles, Josh. Mazzles has pitted, and look at the space he's in. Mazzles has pitted, and he's in a league of his own. Mazzles now.
Completely free with no worries at the moment.
And Dragon's frustration will carry on here because he's not just Ferguson. I mean, Ferguson's in the same boat as Dragon. These two are never ever going to be able to put pressure on Mazzles whilst MKP's in front of them because he's literally he's a safety car effective, isn't he? He basically is in.
Better way to put it is Fernando Alonso.
Yeah, literally. You know, and Mazzles will love it, but the longer that
you can see Dragon trying to push
holds
up.
these two up, it's frustration. You know, we've seen it with Craig earlier on. It is frustration. I'll be the same. If I was on fresh tyres and I knew that I had a chance of getting a good result, but with a car on 20, 30 lap old tyres in front of me, I'd be getting frustrated as well. And the frustration here is that MKP is frustrating not just one but two drivers. Ferguson has to go for this here, in my opinion. He's got to try and lunge it. I think he will as well.
He's broke pretty well. He's made the corner. Very good move.
Well done. Good move. Great. It was brave, but he had to go for it, and now he can kick on. And Dragon knows now that he's got to get past MKP even quicker. It was frustrating as it was, but knowing that Ferguson's got past him, he'll pull away if Dragon can't get past MKP. He's got to get past him.
In Dragon's mind, he knows that it should have been him that should be getting this luck, and he's made contact again.
I've already seen one or two incidents on that corner. Dragon's got pressure on him here as well. Harry Palmer's not out of the running here either yet, Josh. Don't forget he's not on a penalty, Harry Palmer. On fresh mediums, and he's right on Dragon's tail as well. So
can we just remember before the pit exchange, Harry Palmer was 11 seconds away from Dragon and Mazzles, and now he's right on the back of Dragon because of those errors from Dragon in his battles between the other drivers, the Red Bull. And now Harry Palmer's definitely in with a chance, but he's got Marty Baguette, who is going to the end on the hards. So it's not an easy feat to stay with Dragon at the moment. As long as Mighty Baguette can hold with Dragon, and then Harry can hold with Mighty Baguette, it's looking alright. But if Dragon starts to pull away, it's going to put the pressure on Harry Palmer to make the move to stick within the penalty range of both of them and get on the podium. Otherwise, he's going to have to settle for fourth, which I'm sure he won't want to do.
It's not often. I mean, 40 laps ago, you have I'm not going to say a guarantee race winner by any means, but pretty much nailed on race winner. Mazzles got 11 seconds clearly, and he's still improving his lap time.
Well, we had little fun and IRT Connects that look guaranteed to be free from the start, so
yeah,
anything
we did. I mean,
what
I will say with Mazzles is that he knows he can take his foot off and not risk anything. Whereas I think the other two are pushing each other, weren't they, for P1. Mazzles can literally coast around the corners here, and he'll bring the race home because he's got a huge gap, a gap that looks to be getting bigger by the lap as well. And Mazzles, I mean, I don't like to say he's won the race. I think that's very premature, but he's certainly. And I think the big thing is, Josh, well, I know we've touched on it already tonight, but the fact that the safety car is nearly impossible to come out, it favours him more. The yellow flag on track, it's actually Mazzles' teammate Gautier. I think he's pulling over. He's got no wing, Gautier, and didn't want to cause Mazzles any trouble, so he pulls over. But I go back to it, and I know I've mentioned it a few times, but I think the lack of safety car is a real issue for me. I don't like it personally.
It's not nice for some of the drivers that can get caught up in incidents that aren't their fault. It's always. I mean, it's both places, isn't it? Because
for Mazzles here, it's the best possible scenario for Mazzles. If Mazzles knew that safety cars could come out, they could change in a second. But knowing that it can't come out, it's great. I just don't like the fact that I could crash on lap one, and it's not my fault. And I'm pretty much out of the race because there's no chance of a safety car saving me. That's just my opinion. People may, again, I'm not an expert, I've not commentated in a while, I'm not up to date with the game, but
no, I'll hold the same stance pretty much. I think it'd be nice.
It would frustrate me personally.
With a track that's so demanding and aggressive and makes so much incidents on its own without even racing with someone else, it would be nice to everyone to have that accompanied second chance.
The penalty for Harry Palmer really spiced up the battle for the final podium, like between Dragon, Mighty Baguette, Palmer, and just keep an eye on Fandango as well, because Fandango, he has gone. Apologies, I didn't realise that. But just keep an eye on Fandango. He's not out of running yet either, not on a penalty. He's on fresh mediums, and he's got a little bit of clear track here, Fandango, and he's starting to gain on the likes of Baguette and Palmer, so just keep an eye on Fandango over the next sort of 10 to 12 laps, because he's certainly not out of the run here for a potential podium.
Yeah, definitely. I think with Baguette's pace on the
hards,
with Baguette's pace on the hards, it's holding well for Fandango to catch him up and take advantage of the penalties they've got, but it means he has to stay out of them, stay out of the penalties as well. And let's just have a little gander in the race directory and look at Fandango and see if he is bearing any warnings. He is. He's bearing 3 warnings, and I'm guessing one of them might have been contact. So he himself may be on the edge of a penalty himself, which means he's going to have to drive with caution to not breach it. He's caught him by a second a lap at the moment, so he's looking to not just catch up but to overtake as well when he gets there. That'll be a completely different ask than to catch up, but it looks like he's definitely going to be there sooner or later, pretty much sooner as it goes.
I was just about to say, I have seen Gautier will retire in the pits, and that's exactly what he did. Straight in ninth.
Cut the track as well.
For the Haas driver. It does mean now that every driver who finishes this race will get a point, and that includes Nacho, who's 12th. Craigo, I mean, it's been a frustrating night for Craigo, because it's a little bit of a missed opportunity tonight. He could have gone top of the championship. He could still potentially go top of the championship. He has just put himself back into P10 due to Christoph and Nacho. One of them pitting, one of them having an incident on track, which has allowed Craigo to jump. But yeah, I think it's a bit of a missed opportunity for Craigo tonight, knowing that little one who has been his early championship rival, DNF very early in the race.
I just had a massive worry. I saw a white dot in yellow flags.
Thinking it was Mazzles.
Thinking it was Mazzles, but it's just Gautier's car coming out of the pits, which Christie's going to have to be careful of here, because it might not be ghosted. It's not. It's really awkward glitch this, where if you retire in the pits, the car still comes out and causes quite a ruckus, but it seems to be okay. No one's made error alongside
It's gone off, hasn't it? Yeah, it's gone now.
Look at Fandango right on the back already. Only took him 2 laps to catch up, 3 seconds. If he can make a move, he's looking to even challenge for the podium.
Yeah, I think he has to get past these two, and it's easier said than done. Of course, we've seen it on many occasions tonight how hard it is to overtake one car, never mind two. But I do think if he can somehow force his way past these two in the next couple of laps, he then could hunt down Dragon, knowing that his tyres, albeit by only 2 laps, but having a better condition, and knowing as well that Dragon's got a penalty. I mean, Fandango's by no means out the running for a P3 here. Although Dragon, to be fair,
Dragon's odds on for the P3 at the moment.
Look
at the move! Fandango going for a move, easily done against Harry Palmer after Harry Palmer gets a wobble on the rears, and this puts him in good stead to get past Mighty Baguette now. MKP taking a penalty again in P8, leaving Ross and Craig another chance to join in on making more positions. But yeah,
Harry Palmer could be in trouble as well now, you know, because Jay Hartnell he's right behind him and not got any penalties either. So Harry Palmer could potentially lose another place out to the Red Bull with Jay Hartnell behind him.
Yeah, I think if Fandango can stay out the penalties, he's looking good for a guaranteed at least P4, P3 if he can get past Mighty Baguette onto Dragon, because Dragon's gapped 6 now, so he's got that 3-second buffer to his 3-second penalty, so he's looking pretty safe at the moment. Ferguson doing very well in P2. He's got Dragon on the back of him, which this could slow down Dragon and give Baguette and Fandango another chance to catch up. That's not just based on their own raw pace. Mazel's completely free now, no worry in the world for him apart from the wall of Monaco.
Oh, a wobble for Dragon, Josh, and it's not costing much time, but that's how easy it can be done. Early on again, where he touched the curb and took off, wasn't a case of taking off his time, but a little bit of a spin, managed to save it, didn't lose any time, albeit very marginal time. But a couple of incidents like that, and that could be a podium and not a podium, especially when Fandango isn't a million miles away. Now again, I go back to what I said last lap, he has to try and clear Baguette here. If he doesn't clear Baguette, I think we can say goodbye to a podium, but if he can clear Baguette with the next couple of laps, there's no reason why he can't then
break it,
fly up the road towards Dragon. But I think it's crucial for Fandango that he gets past the Ferrari now, really.
As you said, Jay Hartnell making a move on Harry Palmer on the outside of Raskas, and he makes it done. Onto the main straight.
In the pits as well.
Yeah, I think that's
he's got to get him a slap from me. He really needs to try and get past him. I know it's easy said than done, but he has to try and get past him now.
He's looking to do it.
He is. He's getting very close, but he's not going to do it here. He's a sensible driver, fan. It's funny, isn't it? Because you said how good his quality pace was, but he's not had much luck in the races.
It was luck. I think he's never been a bad racer in the races, but he's never had the luck of some of the other drivers to get involved in the incidents. And he's been involved in a good few, so that haven't been on his end, haven't been his fault. So it's nice to see him doing well and up into the top spots now.
We've seen him clear one driver the last lap here, didn't we? Under the bridge, under the tunnel. Sorry. I don't think he's going to do it on this occasion. You can see, look at his battery. Both of these drivers, to be fair, have drained the battery.
Very close to contact.
Baguette then. He nearly went into the Baguette. He nearly won
Just
the
as we're
baguette,
praising
then
him on his
Fandango.
conduct and his cleanliness on track.
Look at Jay
he
Hartnell
nearly
as well,
killed
though. Where's he
someone.
come from? Where's
Well,
he come
yeah,
from?
Jay Hartnell overtook Harry Palmer just before Harry Palmer came to the pits and crawled up on the back of him. His tyres are similar health to Fandango's, a lap older, so they should be a bit slower, ideally, for Fandango, but he's holding good pace, which is going to pressure Fandango even more to make that move pretty soon, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen with the standard of pace around him, forwards and backwards.
Yeah, I think that I think Mighty Baguette again. He's helping Dragon out massively now. You see the gap is increasing, and of course it's giving less and less
I think he's
opportunity
going to
for
send it.
Fandango to get a
Oh,
move done. He might as well get the move done here though on the a little bit of contact between the two of
it's a
them,
very
and Jay
hard
Hartnell had
place
to
to go
slam on his
side by
brakes.
side.
But again, I
Not
think
ideal.
frustration is creeping in here when you're stuck behind someone that's on old tyres and they're impacting your race. You can get frustrated. We've seen it with Dragon. We've seen it earlier on with Crago as well. It can happen. And Dragon, to be fair, I mean, he's a good distance up the road now, and he's still hanging on the back of Ferguson as well. So, for any of these two to really take the P3 away from Dragon would have to be, would have to be huge. Now they'd have to clear the gap now, and they're not doing so. And if anything, the gap's pulled away a little bit from the back end of this lap. So I think as it stands, and of course there's still time for things to change, but as it stands, that top three looking set in stone.
Dragon very close to the Red Bull once again. We've seen this before. Now it's going to come to the point where Dragon's pace is going to fall off as the mediums tyres get a bit older. But while they're still alive, I wonder if we see Dragon try and push on ahead and get past him. I don't think he will. He's a smart driver, and I think he knows he doesn't need to. I mean, unless he thinks he can gap Ferguson, there's no need to. But we've got close contact there, have we?
Fandango just hit the wall. It was quite a big connection. You could hear it on you through your headphones. Again, I've looked at his car. It doesn't look like he's got any visible damage, but I'd be surprised because he hit that wall at some speed on the left-hand side of his car. So again, he may have just avoided damage there. Lucky, but certainly contact between the McLaren and the wall on the left-hand side looks to be okay in terms of damage, but it will have cost him now. And you feel that as the laps progress, now it's favouring Dragon for that podium position.
Yeah.
The gap's getting bigger and bigger in it as now as well. I mean, look at Mazel's, by the way. He's 10 seconds clear. He's had a bit of luck tonight, Mazel, with the fact that, Connect obviously had the incident, a little one had his incident as well. But, Mazel's was so good early on in the race, holding on to the back of the Dragon and just keeping with him and then taking his chances, pit stop to perfection. And unlike the other drivers, avoided damage. It's been a perfect race so far for Mazel's, and he's not there yet. He's got a few laps to bring it home, but as it stands, he's going to get his first points of the season tonight. And
he's gone for it! Just to stop you there, Fandango's gone for it around the outside of the Ferrari. He's looking to make the move. He's got the inside and his contact. Yeah, I don't know if he left enough room there or not, but nevertheless he has got through, and Mighty Baguette has taken a spin because of said contact. This means Fandango has a chance to catch up to Dragon, and it does mean he's got a few laps to try and do so, and it might push Dragon to make the move as well. Jay Hartnell too, obviously without the penalty also, so these two have got a chance to push up and take a challenge for the P3. But it looks like at the end of the day, this podium spot, if they do catch up and make a difference, is going to be decided in Stewart's room. Fandango making an error there, making an even bigger error, and he's taking a half spin.
He's lost it.
Jay Hartnell gets to take the P4 and take the reins of the control of pace up into the Challenger P3. Gone from bad to worse.
As well. I mean, I'm not a steward, but I think he may find himself in a little bit of trouble there. It feels like he squeezed Baguette and not giving much room at all there in a very high speed part of the track. I'd be shocked, put it that way. I'll see it again. Of course, it is.
I'm going to have a look back on stream now and see.
But it looked like he squeezed Baguette there and not given enough room. I might be wrong. I'm not an expert in this situation, but
I'm having a look now.
Wouldn't surprise me if that's an incident that gets looked back on.
I'm not on the most flashing of angles on the camera when I do watch it back. But I'll be honest, it doesn't look like he's pushed him into the wall.
Okay.
From the stream, it does look like there might be a bit of room, but obviously angles do convince otherwise. So we've seen that across Instagram. So that'll have to go to the stewards to see other angles, which show it in a bit more of a clearer picture to decide on that. But I'm not too sure. It's interesting. Jay Hartnell and Fandango, anyways, not creating the not dropping the gap between P3 at all. Baguette doing well to stay in P6 after being pushed into the wall, allegedly by Fandango. We'll have to see what happens there again. But yeah, he's doing well so far, and I'm sure he can continue to hold this P6 and take what he can, even if it was out of his control that he's lost a bit more than he wishes he could take. But at the moment, I think we're just going into the last few laps now, and everything's starting to balance out and just stabilise. You've got Dragon still right on the back of Ferguson, which interests me. I wonder if he tries to make a move. I don't think there's any need to. Not with Jay Hartnell. He's dropping the gap, but not enough to warrant panic from Dragon at the moment. There's only 3 laps left. I say that, but Jay Hartnell's dropped a second.
Nice little bit of respect there between the two lads at the back, Nacho and Crystal. Crystal did make a bit of a dodgy move on Nacho, and in fairness to him, he did come over to the stand and give him the place back. So, albeit these two are out of the race in terms of, you know, big point, there's still that respect there between the two of them at the back of the grid, which is nice to see. But yeah, I agree. I think Dragon's on the back of it. He's not letting go, is he?
Look at the gap. It is dropping. It is dropping. Look, it's dropped a second and a half this lap.
It's going to be interesting. There's still 3 laps to go as well.
Ferguson.
Oh, that's not going to help either.
Mate,
It's Dragon has a bit of a wobble.
I've just realised Ferguson and Jay Hartnell may be in communication as teammates. Ferguson may be pushing Dragon back.
Just slowing him down.
To get Jay Hartnell onto the podium
Well,
for
the
a
gap
double
is
for
7 seconds. That little spin from Dragon there as well will have cost even more time. The gap is 7.5. So Jay Hartnell a bit into it himself, because that's gone back up by 5 tenths. It's going to be close. It's 2.5 laps to go, or the best part of 3 laps to go. Jay Hartnell has to close the gap, doesn't he? He's got to be within that 3-second radius.
Look at Ferguson. I think Ferguson's slowing on purpose to stay with Dragon. I wouldn't say he's slowing, but he's not pushing hard enough.
Jay Hartnell.
Oh, it's another half spin from Dragon. Dragon's losing his composure.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing for Ferguson is he can take out a race, because if Dragon gets past him, he's got the
buffer.
But
Dragon made another mistake there. This is interesting.
Yeah, can Ferguson do enough to allow Jay Hartnell to close that gap? There's pressure on Dragon here, and he's not making the greatest either. There's a couple of mistakes creeping in. However, that gap is still staying at 7 seconds. It's not really closed this lap, so Jay Hartnell possibly a couple of mistakes himself there. He's not really capitalised here. He could have quite easily closed that gap to around about 5 seconds, but it's still floating at a 7-second mark, and with 2 laps to go, it still favours Dragon.
As weird as this sounds, I think for the best thing to happen for Jay Hartnell is for Dragon to catch up to Ferguson, and for Ferguson to drop the pace a bit and hold him up. I think that's the best thing possible, because when Dragon was right on the rear of Ferguson and struggling to find anywhere to go, that was where Jay Hartnell was finding the most time, and I think we'll see it now in this sector again if Dragon keeps up with him.
Yeah, I mean, it's still flowing at 7 seconds, isn't it? He's not really...
It's dropped a bit more. It's dropped 3 tenths. All it takes is one mistake.
Yeah, of course it does, I agree. I just think now with only a lap and a half to go, I think you're asking a lot now of Jay Hartnell. He's not exactly flying, albeit he has to get by about 7 tenths here. I just don't think it'll be enough unless his teammates can force Dragon into a mistake or slowing down. I mean, I know we've closed the gap a little bit now towards about 7 tenths, but still not enough with only a lap to go, and he needs to pull 3 seconds on Dragon. And, I don't see it now personally, bar a little bit of drama on the last lap, which is possible.
It's going to be interesting for sure. As we come around, like you said, for the final lap of the race. Mazel's driver of the day for me, completely out of the league of everyone else that has stayed on track. Ferguson doing very well as well on the 20 lap old hards, trying to do a job for his teammate now and less focused on himself, as that is pretty much solidified for a P2. But yeah, Jay Hartnell still chipping away for the P3 at the moment. It's dropped down to 6 seconds. All he needs to do is gain another 2.5 seconds, and he's in that penalty range. And look at it, it's dropping so much. It's going down to 5.5. It's getting close, but I don't think there might not be enough track for him to chip away.
I mean, it is dropping very quickly. I think he could be a lap short here, though. I think he's one more lap in this race.
A lap or 2 more.
Dragon had a couple of wobbles though. But I think although it has dropped considerably in the last lap or two, I think one more lap here could have made things very interesting. But I do think Dragon, albeit fair play to Ferguson doing his absolute best to try and get his teammate on the podium with him. I think he could just fall short here.
Yeah, it looks like that's what's going to happen, unfortunately for Jehan, unfortunately for Dragon, in the Aston Martin, getting a podium here, it looks like.
He's doing his best, isn't he, Ferguson? He's like, look at him, I rate it. Teamwork, great. And to be fair, it's now 4.4. One more lap. I think Dragon will be in big trouble.
So close.
But there you go. Yellow flag at the end there.
1.3 seconds is the difference. So close. Fandango comes across the line to make it a P5. Not bad.
Did Mazel slow down at the end, or the gap was 10 seconds? It's down to 6.4. So did he have a bit of an incident?
With a gap like that, you can take it as cautious as you like, really, in an F1 car.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Maybe
yeah.
so. Fandango, one of the drivers of the day as well, starting, where was it, P17?
Ooh.
Up into P5.
I think so as well, Josh. I mentioned Craigo not capitalising on a little one. He did bring home a P7 in the end, which is a nice result for Craigo, and he will jump little one with that.
That is not a bad race at all. I'll tell you what, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I don't get me wrong, I know I've said it before, I would like the safety car. Obviously, you don't want a race being ruined by safety cars by any means, and of course on Monaco is that risk that you could see 4 or 5 come out and not enough racing, but I do think you need that structure within a race, you know, and I think it would have been nice to have that in there, especially.
Yeah, there was a few opportunities where it could have worked out.
Yeah, I think like you say, there was a couple of lads there.
Someone like Baguette, when he got taken out there, well, we'll see if it was his fault or not, but.
I mean, you see a few, didn't you, on lap 1 that had incidents, and then they've got to play catch up, and they know that safety cars aren't going to come out. It can be a little bit deteriorating, but there you go. It's Hass's day in Monaco.
Yeah, well, that is it. We'll go through the order, and then I think we'll cut it there for tonight. And yeah, Mazel's taking P1, with the Danish flag there. Northern Ireland, Ferguson taking P2 on the podium. Dragon taking the 3rd podium position marginally after such an awesome battle between him and the Red Bulls. Jay Hartnell taking out 4th, 5th, rounding out with Fandango, Mighty Baguette, Craigo, Ross, MKP, and Harry Palmer rounding out the top 10. Quite promising for Harry Palmer at the start there, looking for a podium, but didn't quite live up to the expectation of that. P11 and P12 rounding out the point scorers. Christopher and Nacho after their honourable battle there at the end, after giving the positions back to each other. Gautier, Le Felon, that guy Draper, KXI7, Leon, IRT Connects. The ideal winners there, IRT Connects and Little Juan, looking to win it, but both crashed out today, and AMS Core on his debut also crashing out. Looking forward to see him actually getting on with a good race in the future. But yeah, that's been it from us. Thank you for joining us. Tier 3 should be live now, and I also believe that we will be live on Thursday for Monaco with Tier 2 and Tier 1, so we should see you there for that. And like Hedge said earlier, we will be at France next week with a sprint format, so we'll see you back for then, which I think we should have a good grid for as well in Tier 3, so see you then.